What is up, everybody? What is up? A few days of being completely sick in the wilderness of illness is not fun. It is not fun. I hate being sick with a passion, and it seems ever since we had this little guy, it just seems to happen a lot more often than it used to be. Yeah, it was a pretty terrible illness that started middle of this last week. And on top of that, we were working these crazy shifts at our job. It was a really weird type of illness. It felt like a massive flu, cold type thing, but it was really intense. But thanks to Chelsea, I was able to sleep from like 7 p.m. The other night, clear till 10 a.m. yesterday. So I slept like quite a significant more than I usually do, and that seemed to at least help me get over the hump. And here we are to back with you after a few days off. We never take days off, so you know it was bad. We took a few days off because we had to. We absolutely couldn't even put a thought together. We had an interview that we were wanting to get put together that has been postponed so many times. I feel so bad with this person who I've been had this interview with. Almost every time we set it up, we all very good intentions, want to get this thing done, but then something happens on either of our ends that is 100% genuine. It's not trying to get out of it. We've had this person do multiple interviews on the show before. It's nothing like that. It's just on both sides of the aisle, and this time it was mine. We were stuck with Sage yesterday, so there was no way we could get the interview done. Plus, we were still in probably not good enough shape to do an interview at the highest quality. But here we are to talk LSU and the crazy, just the crazy long batch of news that's been going on in the last little bit since we've last spoken to you. And since we've last done any type of content, you saw that we were predicting DJ Pickett would be a Tiger. That Jakeem Stewart, even though it seemed like LSU had a chance with him at first, that was just going to be a USC take. He was going to USC. They had a Marvel meeting with him, set up for him. You know, like this kid's going to USC, right? The palm trees, the LA vibe, like all that. Like this kid's going to USC. But DJ Pickett, he now became the Bryce Underwood of the class. Like you lost Bryce Underwood, now you must get DJ Pickett. Like you absolutely had to get this kid, not just because of him being a top player, the number one corner in his position. It's the fact that you are so screwed at corner in the big picture of things, where every victory there is going to help bridge the gap towards some type of sustainable present and a very, very bright future for LSU at DBU. And DJ Pickett coming onto campus in January, that's fantastic. That'll elevate Ashton Stamps. That'll elevate PJ Woodland. It's LSU, for me, the 2025 class discussion begins and it ends with getting DJ Pickett and making sure you prove, hey, we can make this happen. And then you put the cherry on top, a Solomon Thomas flip. You flipped a 5-star from Florida State. More hell for Mike Norvell. And you flipped him over to LSU, even though he's made some weird comments after Solomon Thomas. But we're so glad to have him. What a hell of a Tiger up there up on the trenches. Another big time win for Brad Davis. But in the post Will Campbell era too, we're gonna have to get used to that phrasing too, because Will Campbell, as you know, declared for the NFL draft. But really, the 2025 class, to me, this is Brian Kelly's best class, without a doubt. Without a doubt, this is Brian Kelly's best class, and he has had top 5 classes since he's been at LSU. He's had top 5 classes since he has been at LSU, but there's something about this class, in my opinion, that makes it different. Because there's a guy like DJ Pickett who could be that next Stingley. You know, this guy has that type of generational quality about him, his play. Harlem Berry, a dude who had infinite access to the money, infinite access to any type of temptation coming his way NIL-wise, and he refused it all and instead stuck it out, stayed committed to the Tigers. That's a young man, especially a 5-star freak, who absolutely must be rewarded for his absolute loyalty there. CJ Ross, this kid, he's listed as a 4-star. He's listed second in his position, the second-rated linebacker in the country according to 247. I think he's probably going to be the number 1 linebacker of the 2025 class. Keelan Moses can say, hey, no, you're neglecting me, but as much as I think Keelan has a shot as the most versatile linebacker potentially, best linebacker of the 2025 class, that's got to go to CJ Ross, no question. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's been incredible with North Shore, leading them to an undefeated season so far. They have been monstrous. Let's see. Didn't they have a state championship game to be playing? Is that on right now? Oh, I think it is. One second. Adesosita. I'm probably screwing that name up badly. I'm not really that bad at mispronouncing, but I probably look like it. Yep. So North Shore still 13-0, going to that state title game against Atascocita. The game's going on right now. No updates right now, but still. Oh, here we go. We got some updates. North Shore is up 7-0, 21-7 at halftime. North Shore is up 21-7 at halftime. Wow. This is looking like 42-21 end of the third quarter. 49-21 right now. 49-21. This looks like they're about to do that right now, clean their clock and finish this thing with a state championship here. So congratulations to CJ Ross. We'll be the first to congratulate him before the game's even over on being a state champion. He's had an incredible season, and I think he's one of those linebackers no one's talking about. But just like how Devon Keys came out of nowhere and getting 10-tackle games, getting sacks, getting picks, nearly getting picks, getting fumbles, recoveries, making these plays, or Weeks before him, Harold Perkins before him, there's this freshman linebacker gene that is just cosmic at LSU right now. And I think he's going to be the next one, CJ Ross. He's going to come in here and fit right in with this group, right as this group is losing Greg Penn III, right as this group is losing some depth with Debo Atkins in the going to the transfer portal. It's CJ Ross, seriously, multifaceted talent, great kid as well. We've been talking to him personally for a long time. We're hoping to get him on the show at some point soon here. We were waiting for this season, this grind to end before he'd come on. We did not want to be a distraction. But yeah, this class, to me, is this Brian Kelly's best class? Carius Kern, Solomon Thomas up front, Jaden Breaker, another linebacker that you got. I think he was the first kid to commit. Aiden Anding, high-powered, powerhouse Ruston cornerback, local guy that everyone was going after, but we kept him home. That was a kid who was very under the radar. Not a lot of people were talking about that, about his commitment or his signature. But here's the thing: had he left, you wouldn't have heard the end of it. Huge that we got him to stay. JT Lindsay, this is a running back out of Alexandria who many have overlooked this kid as well. Tyler Miller, this is another inside zone lineman who's fantastic. Damian Shanklin, who always had such loyalty to the program, an edge rusher, only a 4-star rated when I think he's right on that verge of being a 5. Teron Francis out of Edna Carr. This is another special receiving, absolute prodigy in the air. And he's 6'2", 200. He's got the measurables to stick it out and to really show his strength and his will in the SEC as a freshman, especially when you're talking about what they're already going to be doing to help him bulk up after he arrives as well. Teron Francis, love him at the receiver position that you got him from Edna Carr. He's going to be another diamond in the rough. Damian Shanklin as well. You absolutely had to replace, in some form or fashion, Deshaun Womack, whether it was just as a number on the depth chart, how many defensive end guys, how many edge rusher guys, or his actual talent with that height, that kind of tweener weight. Then you got that with Damian Shanklin. I think hopefully LSU doesn't do the same thing they did with Deshaun Womack and neglect to play him and get him all disenfranchised. And then, he's sick of the whole thing and then he's in the portal. That's basically what happened, and it was a disaster for LSU. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, Region 3 final, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, in the regional final. Yeah, you can tell I'm, out of sorts, getting things wrong like that. But also, they got, Keelan Moses, Zach Weeks, also at linebacker. Zach Weeks, who LSU Odyssey had him first on the show. And then LSU, Blake Baker offers him middle of the night, calling him all over, just blowing up his phone. Blake Baker is desperate to get him to call him back. And Zach goes to school, does his thing, and then calls him back. And then Blake Baker's like, yo, bro, we got to get you down here. And then, really wins him over. And we really want to get Zach on to tell that story because it's fantastic. And I just think it's incredible that you have 3 brothers, the same last name, are going to be lining up at linebacker for LSU. But anyone who thought that LSU, might be struggling with people at linebacker. I don't know about that. You got you potentially you're going to have Harold Perkins. I'm hearing like literally 9.5 out of 10 Harold Perkins is coming back. Like it's all but certain. He just has to make the decision. He's just to make the move. He's running out of time here. The draft evaluation, maybe he's waiting for. We'll see. But I think he's already made that decision. Harold Perkins potentially, Whit Weeks leading your linebacking core, Devon Keys, who had a fantastic second half of the year, really came on, took advantage of that opportunity, took advantage of that playing time. West Weeks coming back from injury. West Weeks actually looked really good whenever he played. So that's another player for LSU that's like, okay, when that kid played, he was fantastic. We just got to keep him healthy. Keelan Moses, Zach Weeks, Jaden Breaker, CJ Ross, who we went through first. It's Tylen Singleton. And then we could even include Kalaj Cobbins in the linebacking core if you wanted to. Even though for me he's more of an edge guy, and I think Kalaj Cobbins deserves to be found out some more. We need to kind of find out what he's capable of. But LSU did a fantastic job there. Where they struck out was yes, they got some strong safeties with Jace Thomas and Jim Coyley. But you really needed to get Cade Phillips, and he was worth the money. I don't know why they didn't throw. You also look at how LSU handled Kylan Jackson. They let his 2 years of his eligibility bleed out already at this program, and he had nothing to show for it. That's tragic for that young man. It's not such a tragedy for LSU because he didn't work out. Okay, see ya. But like, he's got 2 years of his career just down the toilet. That's incredible. And we never found out if he was good enough to play at LSU at all. Like, we didn't even get a sniff of that. Kylan Jackson. Now he's in the portal, of course. It's just incredible. It's incredible how college football is nowadays. Same thing with Deshaun Womack. You saw some flashes, some hints, and then you never saw him again. LSU, this 2025 class can go a long way with maybe bridging a few gaps here, but it's hard for me to say, J.D. LaFleur is the next Mason Taylor. It's you've got some really good talents here. You've got some awesome under-the-radar guys, a Zion Williams, a Brandon Brown, defensive lineman. You've got some underrated Tyler Miller in the guard, offensive lineman, Carius Kern, of course. LSU really delivered with this class. I mean, it was a number 7 overall class. Okay, I mean that's pretty damn good in the NIL era, considering where LSU are with the NIL era. All LSU need to do is just get to this little level, just one more little step up financially in tying all of this in a nice little bow, and we're off to the races. And I'm pretty sure that's taking place as we speak, because there's no time to waste here. And securing DJ Pickett was huge for this program. Absolutely huge. Corey Raymond knew he had to do it. He absolutely had to get him at any cost. Any cost. there was the 2025 class for me. This could be, of course, Kelly's best class, but the problem is I take that back. You know why? Because it doesn't have a fucking quarterback in it. Seriously. Thanks to Bryce Underwood. What's up? What do you see? The truck? What is it? We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback in this class thanks to Bryce Underwood, leaving us, high and dry. So this class can only ever elevate to such a level. Carson Beck is almost like all too willing to put that Stockton guy in the game there. Wow. That's not like a gracious teammate. That looks like a guy who's like, yeah, go in there and get killed. I'll see you in a quarter. Like, what the hell is Carson Beck on? Like, he's on some trippy ass coke, if you ask me. He's on something crazy. The DJ Pickett thing, really, it's where it ends and all begins for me, because I feel like that's the type of a signing that can really bridge the gap that you were looking to bridge through the transfer portal for the last few years. One guy after another. Denver Harris, former 5-star, should have been a lock as a great player at LSU. A great signing. Javian Toviano. We haven't really given him a shot on the field. When we have, he's been fantastic for LSU. I understand he had a little bit of a legal trouble thing, and that was actually cleared up, and charges were cleared completely. And it's very interesting that he had the only tackle for loss against Alabama all night when he played in garbage time. He could have been that player to shut down Jalen Milroe, but nope. Maybe not even shut Jalen Milroe down, but at least tackle him, for Christ's sake. And I suspect Toviano could transfer, because he's basically wasted 2 seasons now at LSU where he's barely played. This was a kid who was a 5-star coming out of Martin. It's just unthinkable to think that he would have. He's played 2 seasons, and yet he's really barely played. So there's a lot of these 5-star talents LSU's pursued in the portal. LSU's recruited before. LSU signed before under Brian Kelly. They've got a great track record. But here's the thing: those guys haven't paid off nearly as much as Saban and Ashton Stamps. People go, oh, he's a 3-star. Oh, who cares? It's like Louisiana 3-stars always seem to carry their water more, and you're seeing what he did with 10 pass breakups, 3rd in the country in the SEC. Sorry, 3rd in the SEC. Yes, it was. He didn't have the best of years, but I think he had a year where he's gonna have a lot of growth from it. PJ Woodland, we didn't really see anything more from him after that initial first 4 or 5 games, which was depressing. And I would love to see the coaching staff end that. This policy of like, hey, I want you to play free. It's okay if you make mistakes, just play free. And then the second someone makes a mistake, they never play again. Like, end that bullshit now. Because mistakes are going to happen. The best players made mistakes. The greatest players made mistakes. Like, how many... Like, Ray Lewis would miss tackles all over the place. But you barely saw them because he tackled so many other people. You barely even thought of the missed tackles. They happen, though. LSU lose Mason Taylor, Will Campbell to the NFL draft. Mason Taylor and Will Campbell both to the NFL draft. You knew you were going to lose Will Campbell. Mason Taylor, you thought you had a chance. Let me ask you that. Did you honestly believe we had a chance to retain Mason Taylor? I'll post that right now. What is that noise you're making, Sage?
Enjoy the show.
Yeah, losing Mason Taylor. I mean, Lucas is now, I think, a great. I think he would be a great one to go after out of Arkansas. He just barely went into the draft. I mean, sorry, went into the draft. My bad. Sage went into the portal. Zach Atkins out of Missouri State. He's the number 1 overall tight end. You just lost Slade Nagel as well, your tight ends coach. Another piece of news that went out the door is you lost Slade Nagel as well. Mason Taylor's gone. The transfers out are Shelton Sampson as well. Played 19 games at LSU without ever having a catch. Dropped 2 touchdowns in 1 game. Both thrown by Nussmeier. Perfect passes, dropped both of them against Grambling. CJ Daniels goes to the transfer portal. We've talked about that already. How disappointing that one was, especially after all the talk of him coming back. Debo Atkins, Kylan Jackson, we just talked about him. Bernard Causey, another DB, Louisiana DB, who's going into the portal from LSU. It sucks. It sucks to see some of these guys go, but it's up to LSU now to go into the portal and upgrade this talent level at LSU. Front to back. Top to bottom. Inject this team with some young blood. Inject this team with some veteran leadership. Just sprinkle that in. You know, some veteran leadership over here. Go get the right players. And there's so many high quality targets in the transfer portal right now. More than there's ever been, than I've ever seen. It's like a tsunami of high quality transfer targets. You are on a mission, to quote the Blues Brothers, you are on a mission from God, Brian Kelly. A mission from God to literally go and get the best players out of the portal. And that's going to include Luke Hosh, Zach Martin, one of the two. You've got to get one of those two. I mean, because how could you not? Brian Kelly can just sell, hey, I've put however many billion tight ends into the NFL. And also, we just did this with Mason Taylor. We just developed him. Do you want to follow that act and literally maybe even top him even? Do you want to try to do that? Like, why not? Like, this staff should be able to sell this so easily. And I get it that it's all about the money. I get it. You should be able to sell this stuff. Like you really should be able to have that edge in the discussions, an edge in those conversations. Because you're the guy who developed Jaden fucking Daniels. Your name's Joe Sloan. You know, you're the guy who developed Malik Neighbors. Your name's Cortez Hankton. You know, you're Brad Davis. You're the guy who not only recruited, signed, and developed Will Campbell and Emory Jones. You had the balls to start them as freshmen. And he'll do it again if you're the best player to play. You know, like that's the thing. He started Zalance Hurd at one point as a freshman. Before Hurd went into the portal, of course, looking for more playing time. And then he started DJ Chester at one point. Didn't start him, but brought him off the bench in a critical moment on the road as a true freshman. Against Missouri, 19 snaps of heaven, and was really good for Jaden Daniels and the team to pick up that road win. You know, you've got this staff that shows that they don't have the fear to be successful. They don't have, any qualms with taking that next step. These are coaches who've done this before. They just haven't done it at LSU with this group together. And it's a harder thing to do when you're, Bo Davis has won how many rings with Nick Saban, There's guys over here in pockets who've won championships before, but you're bringing them all together. How can this stew work? How can this mixture? They do so well on the recruiting trail. I understand we lose the NIL battles. That will take care of itself in the near future here. But if they're winning every other battle, they're going to then win the NIL battles when that money is coming in, right? When that money is hit to that level, they'll be fine in those discussions. But, I just, this is an interesting time. A lot of change in the air at LSU, a lot of things going on, a lot of guys who we expected. We literally did a show where we almost have named everyone who's transferred, except Kamarion Pimpton hasn't made that move. I understand why he hasn't. Mason Taylor just left. It's only him and Tradez there now. So, of course, I see why he wouldn't have done that. Caleb Jackson, we're waiting on to see what move he makes. Sage Ryan, could he be going to the NFL? Could he be returning to LSU? We're going to see about that. We've heard some things about training in Dallas and are trying to follow up with that and see what's going on there. Anyway, we'll be doing a lot more of this soon, but I wanted to do a show where we got in deep with this 2025 class, player by player. Like I said, I want to say this is Kelly's best class, but I can't because of the quarterback position. Because of how we got screwed at the quarterback position by Bryce Underwood. But overall, you get a guy like DJ Pickett, a corner you haven't had a talent at corner in that position since Eli Ricks and Derek Stingley all left the program in the same offseason. That's how good this kid is. Corey Raymond's going to know exactly what to do, and it's going to help LSU big time. If that class does nothing but give us a few bridges in positions while giving us a true superstar in DJ Pickett at corner, while LSU has had, great depth on the offensive line and quarterback, at a few other positions, linebacker, especially due to positive years recruiting before, then that's great. LSU needed that help at corner, hell or high water, and DJ Pickett isn't just help. He is the superstar of the show. He is the cat's pajamas. He is the king. He's the next beast. Cannot wait to see him play. Everybody, check out LSUODYSSEY.com. We have a surprise coming very shortly for all of you to thank you for letting us throw our brains out while we were sick.